Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is NativeCamp Teachers, and this is Teacher Frank. So in this video, we will be learning on how you're going to have a consistent sudden lessons and also booking classes in your lessons. But if you already have a lot of sudden lessons and also booking classes, you will get value on the tips that I will be sharing you in this video. So actually, guys, I'm so pumped up to share this to you. This is actually my mindset. Again, guys, please read this disclaimer. All right, thank you so much for taking time reading that disclaimer. So let's get started. If you take something as your business, you're really gonna take it seriously because it's your own business. That's my mindset when I start here at NativeCamp, especially for our home-based teachers. We are actually independent contractors, so it means that we are not working for NativeCamp, so we are actually working with NativeCamp. Okay, so we are independent contractors, so we really have to take care of such variables that I will be sharing to you. These tips that I will be sharing to you guys are very relevant. You're really gonna get value on how you're going to have a consistent and very effective lessons. Now, let's talk about first, definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievements. So this is actually one of my favorite excerpt from this book. You really have to find your purpose upon applying here at NativeCamp. So if you're just gonna earn here instantly, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna earn here. It's really true because I'm a living proof that I'm actually earning here at NativeCamp. But earnings here at NativeCamp, this is something that you really have to build up. Definiteness of your purpose to achieve your goal. So again, guys, our goal this time is to have consistent sudden classes and also booking classes. What if we could discover the exact approaches to our target students that would make them interested to come back to our classes? So those are the things that you really have to consider, guys. What are you good at? Okay. And what are those qualities as a teacher you can actually represent yourself? Like, for example, if you're good in pronunciation, then try to focus on that. And please do not stop learning. So niche is actually a very important variable that you have to find out teaching here at NativeCamp or any job. You really have to find your niche. Okay, so teaching English is actually our job, but you really have to find your niche. Our students are actually able to sense what kind of teacher you are. If you're my pronunciation teacher, if you're my English grammar teacher, if you are my short story maker teacher, or like that. So they are going to identify what are you good at. But one thing that you have to know more is, or to continue to incorporate to yourself or try to develop to yourself, is to keep learning and don't stop. If you're gonna stop learning, guys, you're gonna lose here, and then you will find no growth to yourself. That's personal growth. If you are actually earning a lot and there's no personal growth to yourself, you're gonna end up nothing. So when you already decided that this is your goal, you're gonna learn English, you're gonna master that one. Being an English teacher doesn't mean that you know everything. What if we could discover those approaches? So a lot of people are actually asking me, so yeah, so we have to know those things, we have to discover our niche, right? So how effective it is, when am I gonna start? Those are actually the questions that I am receiving to our co-applicants and also aspirants and our old teachers here. So they're actually to find out how are they going to consistently have their students. So the best thing that you have to do is here, start before you're ready. I think that's the perfect answer for that question. start before you're ready. Why I'm telling you this? Being a teacher, you will be more aware of what kind of teacher you are, how you teach online, if you get or you gather a lot of experience and you're going to learn from those experience. Your experience will be your very best reference on what are the strength and what are your Waterloo. If you're bad in pronunciation, accept it and improve it. If you're bad with grammar structure, accept it and improve it. Yeah, that's the best thing that you have to do. Why I'm telling you that you have to start before you're ready. This is actually a cliche. Like, it's very easy to tell this, but when you're already in that situation, it's really true that you will feel nervous. You will be like you'll lose your concentration, and it's actually normal. Not only you guys are experiencing that. When I started, it's the same thing. I also feel like I don't know where I am going. I Am I sure about this industry? Am I sure about teaching English? I was actually questioning myself, but I was in that situation that I really have to teach right away. Then I tried to discover that I'm not really good at specific things or a lot of things. So I accepted to do what I preach. Like, I keep telling to my students, like, you have to continuously learn English. Then, you should be not hypocrite of stopping learning English. You have to continuously learning English, just the way you preach that to your student. Yes. Even if you're the best, English grammarian, I think there's always a room for improvement. And don't stop learning, because if you're gonna stop learning, it's your losing point. It's your losing point. What else? I'm telling you this, guys, because if you're challenged to discuss something, if you're challenged to talk to teach kids lesson, if you're challenged about getting high ratings, it means that there is something that you have to improve. If you're afraid of something while you're teaching, if you're not comfortable, if you're not getting a lot of lessons, that's something that you have to improve. It means you will not feel bored. You will not feel like you're losing your way. Even if you don't have any lessons, it means that there are things that you have to improve. Maybe your profile picture, maybe your introduction video. Actually, I already include that in my previous content about, self introduction, and I promise, guys, I will make a specific self introduction training about that one. But this time we're going to focus on what are the things you have to have self discover, assess yourself. I tell you to start before you're ready, because you are actually afraid of, being questioned by the students, being told nonsense and ineffective teachers. Those are your fear. So if you have those fear, guys, it means you still have to learn. You have to accept that. Don't just focus on, I just want to have the lesson. But when the student is already there, the students are not learning from you. And the students are actually not satisfied of what you're doing or what you're teaching or how you handle the lesson. So again, guys, you have to really start before you're ready. You have to start so that you can discover how good you are and what are your weaknesses. Okay? It's not bad to know your weaknesses. It's actually your strength. Make your weakness as your strength. How to do that? Just keep learning. Just keep learning. So now I will be sharing you some points. So first, I'm going to talk about this one. You have to practice. You have to embrace the process. Okay? Why I'm telling you this, guys? Because when you start as a teacher here at Native Camp, we have learning kit. You have the practice demo, but I'm gonna tell you the practice demo is actually just a pinch of the materials that we are actually using here at Native Camp. You have to practice by experiencing those classes. How? Go to standby, wait for your student, embrace the process that if you're a new teacher, students are actually picking you or as a teacher. Students are the one choosing who will be their teacher in that moment. They're gonna book your class, or maybe they're gonna do sudden lessons with you. You have to embrace the process that you have to put effort in making your self introduction. Don't be contented if that self introduction doesn't have any result yet. if that self-introduction did not let the student even take your lesson, it means that you have to really continuously make your self-introduction better and better. So that's how you're going to start with your journey. I actually did that, and I actually have a lot of self-introduction before. It doesn't work until I tried to settle on a very simple, easy to understand self-introduction, and my students became attracted to what I am telling, was able to experience a lot of sudden lessons and booking lessons already. So it means that, okay, that self introduction is a good magnet already for my students. Now, the question is, Frank, you have repeated students, right? You have to embrace the process that you have to continuously learn. Sometimes we just want to satisfy ourselves on baiting students, right? Like, just, okay, the students tried your lesson and they're not coming back. So it means that your self introduction is actually okay. Your profile in NativeCamp is already okay because the students are already attracted to it. The next thing that you have to do is to improve yourself in teaching. You have to experience how the flow in conducting lessons here at NativeCamp. If it works for you, it doesn't mean that it works for you. It works for to another student, a teacher. So you have to find your niche, your way of approach. You might feel like a lot of people are telling us that kids course or kids students are actually giving us low ratings. You become afraid of to that, but instead you're going to improve yourself by learning how to approach those students. So when it comes to kids, guys, I will be making another training about how you're going to conduct lessons with kids. Actually, guys, you're so lucky because our materials now here at Native Camp is now very sophisticated. I consider it sophisticated. It's so good. It has already audio that you can really use while you're conducting your lesson. Your only job there is to make the lesson very interesting, even if it's simple. Don't just skip next page. You already have 5 pages, but the student's still not learning anything. That's not the thing. You really have to make sure that every page the student is learning and enjoying your lesson. But that would be another training, guys. Going back to this slide, you have to practice and embrace the process. It must be hard to others starting here at Native Camp because there's no students taking your lesson. Factors could be you don't have any lesson history, and also the way you talk in the self introduction. Well, again, guys, my self introduction is not the best among all the teachers, but it's actually an effective self introduction. As of this moment, I only have booking lessons, and that's actually a great achievement for me. You might tell me, like, Frank, you have been working here at Native Camp for almost 5 years. That's the reason why. No, actually, guys, I've been working in Native Camp as an office based teacher for 2 years, and then I stopped. I did not work. So it means that almost all my students are actually, you know, gone also. They're not taking my lessons anymore. So I went back to scratch, and I did not work as an office based teacher. I work as a home based teacher, and everything went to scratch. And it was very challenging for me. And I just, you know, it was hard for me because, I used to have a lot of booking lessons. How I did that, I just went back on how I start at Native Camp. Yes, I tried to work harder. I really put my passion, I really put my emotion to my teaching. But of course, if there are some negative things, I filter it. It means that if the students say something bad about my teaching skill, I don't ignore it. I actually encourage myself to, okay, I'm going to get this. I hope this student will come back to me, and I'm going to embrace the process that, I cannot please everybody. I'm just going to continue improving myself, especially in teaching. Okay, so I say a lot of things about practice and embrace the process. Again, guys, you really have to experience a lot of students. If you are new to this industry and if you have already experienced working as an ESL teacher to other company, try to empty your cup. That's the thing. You have to empty your cup when you are, you know, uh, starting here at Native Camp. Empty your cup. Really have to keep learning, because if your cup is full, you know, it's just your experience will be wasted. You have to empty it so that you can absorb it, okay? And then you're gonna learn from those experience. That's the thing. I hope I make sense on those things that I tried to say. So the next thing that I want to share is about positioning. All right. What is your position in this industry? hmm So positioning. How do I say this? Um, I want to start with the word position. Like you're a teacher. That's not what I'm talking about. It's about the industry, the bigger picture, the bigger scheme of this industry, especially here at Native Camp. So I will start with answering the power questions. First is what is your teaching about and what value does it offer? Okay, so for example, there's a specific student wanted to learn pronunciation. Okay, so you know already what are the things that you have to teach. You should focus on pronunciation. And what value does it offer? It means that how can they use it? What specific things or what specific topic that you talk about during the lesson that can instill to their mind after the class that, okay, Frank taught me about American A. That's from Frank. Frank taught me that. You don't have to really tell everything. 25 minutes is very short for teaching student about everything. I think the best thing that you have to do that you really have to focus on a very target language, a specific target language that can instill to their mind after your class. The next question is, who are your target audience? Always remember that you can actually identify those things by answering who are your target audience. Next is, what is your value proposition? So value proposition is something big that I want to talk about now, but I want to highlight these three things: value, target students, and your value proposition. Target students, when you're new here at Native Camp, I think you have to not really focus on that. I think it's better to just keep on experiencing those various type of students, and then you have to know the value, what kind of what value as a teacher you are representing or you are teaching to Native Camp. Not about attitude. I'm talking about how worthy you are as, or when it comes to teaching. Like, uh are you a kind of person who talks a lot during the lesson, or you give time to your student to talk more? Are you a kind of person who likes giving probing question and let the student talk more than you? Because most of the time I just noticed that when we started to a new thing, like for example, you're from a call center industry and then you come here at Native Camp or teaching here at ESL, you cannot stop talking. You just keep on talking. Why? Because it's instill in your mind that you should not have a dead air and you have to do it. And the students are actually, making their sentences, and they sometimes like saying, I'm going to say, then there's a dead air, then you keep on talking. This is a different industry like that. So now let's talk about value proposition. This thing is actually very important. It's not only for teaching, but it actually work in every industry. So let me share this to you. This one, there are three things that you have to remember, or three variables that are important here in the industry. It's you, the student, and other teachers, or the company. Okay, so there are actually four things that you have to remember. We have here who cares, risky, losing zone, and the winning zone. So these are the four area. Okay, they're the four zones or areas that might happen to you. It depends on your mindset. Again, there are four areas. So this is actually what we call as USP, or unique selling proposition. So again, guys, that's what I've said. I take Native Camp when I became a home-based teacher. I take Native Camp as my own business. Of course, not really the admin thing, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm gonna earn here. I have to invest to myself. I have to invest on learning. I have to invest on materials, tools that I'm using, because I'm gonna take it seriously. I'm gonna make this boom. I'm gonna earn big here at Native Camp. That's it. So again, this is what we call as unique selling proposition. So okay, guys. So look at this. All right. As you notice, there are, you know, areas here: the check area, the question mark area, the who cares area, and the X area, or the losing zone. So this is how you're going to understand this. If you are going to always compare yourself to other teachers, that teacher is already 5 years, that teacher is really good in pronunciation, that teacher, and you're not focusing yourself, I'm going to tell you, the result is who cares? It actually doesn't matter. It actually doesn't affect anything. You're just going to be like what you are today. You will be like the person who still wanted to teach, but nobody's taking your lesson because you're so busy talking about other teachers, talking about those things. Okay, so I hope you understand that part. Next is when you talk about students and other teachers, because this student is really uh, keen to teachers, these students only like this kind of teacher. You just talk about them. Again, guys, that's losing zone. Your competitor meets the student's need better than you, you'll be crushed. It means you will be hurt. Oh, I'm not good. And that's reality. In this training, guys, this is no filter. I will be telling you, it might hurt you, it might motivate you, it may give you learnings, but I'm going to tell you, this is a no filter training, and I want you to understand this. If you keep on thinking about your students' welfare and also the other teachers, how they conduct their lesson, you're gonna lose, and it hurts so much. It means that there's no future here. You're not, instead of focusing to yourself, you're busy focusing to another teachers, and it's the losing zone. Now, the other one is the question mark. That question mark is actually representing the risky. If you're going to talk about teachers, you're going to talk about students, about you, that's a battleground. And that's actually need a lot of execution. And it's actually a waste of time. Okay? Because the only variables or elements that are very important in this unique selling proposition is you and the student. You and the student. When it comes to the student will pick you because of your profile. First, that there's no way the student would know how good you are. When you started here at Native Camp, just using your profile, they're gonna pick you up. And then when they pick you up, or when they choose you during your lesson, you're good. So they're gonna keep getting your lesson. But if you're not really good in teaching yet, I'm not telling that will be the end of your career because you're not good in teaching. You will learn through your experience. I understand. Maybe just accept the fact that you have a lot of rooms to improve. Like this, how to make it simple. You and the student focus on how you're going to improve together. That's how the mindset should be. That's your focus. How are you going to have a healthy mindset in this industry? Other teachers doesn't matter so much. If they are successful in this career, I'm going to tell you, you're just seeing the iceberg. You're not seeing what's underneath. When I started here at Native Camp, it was a very difficult decision. It was a very difficult, what I call this one, start. I'm actually not a teacher. I'm actually a seaman. In my personal experience, I don't focus on English, grammars, pronunciation, and everything. And through my experience, through my learning, I just keep telling to myself that I will be keep on learning something through this industry, and I will try my best not to lose this job. And now it's happening, and I hope it will stay like that. All right, so it's like this. Again, your unique selling proposition, the relationship between you and the student, your learning growth together, you and your student. It doesn't mean that you're a teacher, you're the one teaching, but you have to learn from your experience. You have to learn from your experience. Now, always remember, guys, you like, Frank, I'm actually good at this one, but a lot of teachers are actually doing the same thing, Okay. But actually I'm not good in this one. You keep on complaining. You always compare yourself. Always remember that different is better than better. What I'm trying to say, there's nothing wrong for being a unique teacher. Okay. There's no formula on how you're going to be a magnet to students. There's no such thing. You just need to be different and you have to find your niche. We know that every person in the world are unique, and this is your time to prove that it's true. Every person in the world is unique. So you are unique and you're different and you're better than better. Okay? Now let's move on to the next part. You have to learn the best practices. When you say self assessment, it means that you have to assess yourself at least once in a week. Try to record or try to assess yourself random lessons on how you, and then try to find out how you, like, for example, this is what I did. Sometimes, I just click, I record my lessons, and then I pick one of the lessons, and then I tried to watch it, and I assess myself. Oh, okay, this time I'm so relaxed. I think I really don't get engaged, or I don't let the students engage so much with our lesson. So, okay, I have to be more careful to that one. Yeah, that's how how you're going to make sure that you are consistently doing the best practices in teaching. Now, why I'm telling you this, because I think you can always hear this, or you actually hear this in almost all my content here at Native Camp about this one. Lifelong leaders are lifelong learners. So if you really want to be successful, just keep on learning. Keep on learning. Okay. The other one is keep teaching and be consistent. Keep teaching, it means that if you want to have rest day, okay, you have rest day. You have 2 days rest day, but don't leave the whole thing. Don't leave the platform. Like don't leave for 1 month, or you know, I'm gonna tell you, you really have to continuously be consistent to do that. I'm not telling you that it's actually ironic of what they're telling that you can work every now and then. Yes, it's actually not ironic, guys. That's the best thing about this company. It's very flexible. So, but it is actually your, what I call this one, proposition. You don't want to be, out of the industry. So you really have to be consistent on doing or teaching here at Native Camp. And the most important thing is be consistent in learning. Be consistent to always look for ways on how you're going to improve your teaching ability. I'm going to tell you here in YouTube, guys, there's a lot of ways on how you're going to learn, on how you're going to approach, on how you're going to conduct lessons here at Native Camp. So I will try my best to show you those things in my next videos. So always remember, guys, this is actually from Dale Carnegie. Carnegie. I don't know how to read that, but learning is an active process. So we learn by doing. Only knowledge that is used sticks in your mind, right? So this is what I always do. Like when I learn something, I actually tried to share that to my student, and I actually make it as a teaching tool. Those kind of things. So of course, but you really have to match your students' level. All right. So please take note, guys. I will be teaching you about those things in another video episode about how you're going to match what kind of character, what kind of frank I tried to show on screen when I'm talking with a beginner, when I'm talking with advanced, when I'm talking with an intermediate student. There are different approach, and you have to be flexible about that one. Yes. Now, let's talk about the fifth tip, and this is what we call as perseverance. Why I'm telling you perseverance is important, your mindset is actually different when you are doing this job, when you are, when you're doing a full-time job to an office. Your mindset is different. You want to do your best. You want to do your best. Always remember that when you're doing teaching online, you are actually in a competition, and we cannot hide that. There are a lot of teachers available for our students, and it is not a sprint. Okay, it's actually a marathon. Why I'm telling you this? Teaching online is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Because if you're gonna say it's a sprint, you're gonna try your best, you're gonna do everything that so that you can have the lesson, and you're not really equipped to those things. You're not actually learning at the same time. You'll just get tired and you're gonna quit. And that's actually a lot of teachers are experiencing because they are doing teaching online, not only here at Native Camp, teaching online as a sprint. Just want to have a lessons. Again, it's a marathon. What's the difference between the two? When you're doing sprint, you're gonna keep running and then you're gonna get tired. But when you are joining a marathon, you know where you're going. That's the thing. You know where you're going. When I started here at Native Camp, I actually started with sprint, and that's my pitfall. It took a lot of time for me to have a lot of lessons and a lot of reservation classes. But when I found out that, okay, I have to really invest to myself about my knowledge, my materials, my things that I'm using, and of course, myself, my learning, my knowledge, I have to invest to those things. It doesn't mean that it's money, but time. Great things take time. I really want to highlight that these are the things that I want you to understand that working here at Native Camp is actually not a sprint. It's not about like you started early, you started late. And that's why we have different things. Because if you are a teacher, guys, that who experience having a lot of lessons right now, you can comment below and share us your story about, how you are able to get those lessons. So before we are going to end this free online lesson, guys, I want to give you question of the day. What tips do you have for getting your first 1000 classes, and what do you learn as of this moment? You can comment that one below, and I will take time to read those things. And in my next video, I will shout out your name and share those wonderful tips and what are those wonderful learnings that you get when you have your first 1000 classes. Actually, I give it 1000, but in my training, I said 300 to 500. But if you're really gonna take it seriously, you're just gonna make your 1000 classes as your training ground. Okay, that's our QOTD for today. All right, guys. So actually, that would be all for our training. So again, guys, my QOTD for today is what tips do you have for getting your first 1000 classes, and what do you learn as of this moment? Again, guys, you can comment those in the comment section, and I will be reading those, and I will be doing screenshot, and I will be sharing that in our next videos. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learn a lot. If you have any suggestions or anything that you want me to include here in our content next time, feel free to, message here in our YouTube channel. You can also visit me in my Facebook page, that is Native Camp Hiring Q&A. So especially for our applicants who wanted to learn more about Native Camp, please don't be afraid to approach me. I will be trying my best to find time sending those messages or replying to those queries. So I hope you learn a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending more time in listening and so those things. So thank you so much, guys. And again, My only motivation in making this video, guys, is to at least contribute peace of mind, answering your questions. And if there are some questions again, please include that in my comment section. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching and see you in our next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. If you like this video, please click the button below.